Final moments of Her Majesty's frigate HMS Antelope, slipping into the waters of San Carlos Bay on Monday the 24th of May, her back broken by the fire and explosions that had ripped through her hull right through the night. And these were those explosions, the first of a series of remarkable pictures now coming into us from Ascension Island. This was the scene hours earlier, damaged by Argentine bombs, 2 of them, as she helped protect the landing of supplies at San Carlos. The ship limped into San Carlos water. And then later at night, one of the bombs went off as a bomb disposal expert was working to defuse it. There was great confusion, but amazingly no panic. The flames touched off her weapon system, her ammunition and her fuel. As helicopters scoured the water for survivors, many men were picked up, others lined the rails, queuing patiently, and without any hint of panic, as the explosions went off around them, queuing up to be rescued. Incredibly, only 2 men died as the explosions kept ripping through the Antelope. As the explosions went on, the helicopters were going in again and again to take them off. And there are the men. You can see the men with the white smoke billowing behind them, lining the rail of the ship, waiting for the helicopters to come, as to the right of them, behind them, the ship was exploding, was burning around them. Some of the first pictures that we are still getting in from San Carlos Bay by a satellite link from Ascension Island. Late last night, Michael Nicholson sent this report of Argentine attacks on the British bridgehead at San Carlos.
Did we really expect to suffer such casualties? 4 ships sunk in as many days and as many again damaged. HMS Argonaut was hit by bombs a few hundred yards on our port bow. Then, days of repair, and on the day that she was declared safe, she went on fire. Men and equipment were rushed to her when she signaled that the fire was getting out of control. Men were winched down from helicopters from HMS Fearless with extra firefighting equipment. It continued to astonish us how quickly a fire spreads in our modern warships. Argonaut was anchored a ship's length away from where Antelope went down, a burning wreck 3 days before. Our other air attack casualties in San Carlos water moved past us that evening to more protected anchorages. Sir Galahad and Sir Lancelot, the 2 knights of the fleet, are both supply ships. Both were still full of supplies when bombs hit them. The bombs did not go off. Up until then, they had survived. Sir Galahad's bomb was diffused, and it moved under its own steam past us, but Sir Lancelot had to be towed and pushed ever so gently into an anchorage by landing craft. Her decks were packed with vehicles and munitions, and deep inside her were 2 unexploded bombs. Even as she passed us a few hundred yards away, with the hole in her hull quite visible, men inside were cutting their way through steel bulkheads to get to the bombs to defuse them. We held our breath as she passed us. Thursday evening, almost dark, and the Argentines caught us by surprise again. 4 Skyhawk aircraft came in over the hills very suddenly while many of us were still below deck, and they hit the Marines' beachhead at Ajax Bay with bombs setting off explosions in ammunition dumps. 1 went through the field hospital, and men died in the explosions that followed. Casualties were brought to our sick bay and to the sick bays in other ships around us. It was a bitter end to a week in which there had been so few casualties ashore.
More pictures are still coming in. We will have full reports for you in our next news bulletin, which is rather later than usual for a Saturday at 6:30 tonight. For now, back to Dickie Davis.